Hi everybody, Honest John here. I have to admit I haven't watched much of the Republican convention. I did watch a little of it, but not much of it because it's hard to be exposed to that level of stupidity for any length of time. I saw a little bit of Mike Pence's speech, and that man has taken brown-nosing to a level never seen before on our planet. Now, the vice president always carries the president's water, no matter who's in the White House, Democrat or Republican. But Pence's slavish fawning over Trump is unlike anything I've ever seen. It's kind of sickening. But it did inspire a new joke. What color are Mike Pence's eyes? Trump shit brown. And speaking of Trump, he's planning on making a speech on all 4 days during the Republican convention. Usually the nominee makes a few brief remarks after he is confirmed as the nominee, and then stays out of sight until the final day of the convention when he gives the keynote speech. But Trump gave a long tirade filled with lies and complaints against his usual targets, and he tried to paint the Democrats as radical and extreme. But his remarks only served to point out just how the Republican Party has moved so far away from its principles that it's impossible to define them anymore. CNN finally gave up and cut away from his speech. MSNBC dutifully covered the whole thing, but one commentator made the point that if they had only aired what was true about Trump's speech, it would have lasted for less than a minute. So, as I mentioned, usually after making those remarks upon being nominated, the candidate basically stays out of sight until the end of the convention. But Trump is going to speak for the next 3 days, in addition to the speech he gave yesterday. But Trump doesn't have 4 different speeches. And he's not a great speaker. His vocabulary is extremely limited, and he has no ideas. So he doesn't have 4 speeches to give. Basically, it will be the same lies and complaints, just in a different order. So the fact that he's going to do that simply points out his childish need for attention. And Trump and the Republicans have no record of achievement to run on, unless you account more sickness and death than any other country in the world as an achievement. So they're just going to attack the Democrats while spending as little time as possible talking about what they're going to do. Now, Trump did talk about how good the economy was before the virus struck, but that is just a reminder of how badly he's handled it. And the economy that Trump was bragging about he had nothing to do with. That was created by Barack Obama. But it's not the first time a racist white man has tried to take credit for something a black man did. What's really telling is that the Republicans don't even have a policy platform at this convention. So they can't run on their record, and they won't even talk about what they plan to do in the future. All they're doing is attacking the Democrats because they know if they actually told us what they have planned for the future, Americans would reject them en masse. Thanks for listening.